Do you think that it's impossible or possible for the general public, maybe not the extreme ends, but the general public to generally go, okay, it's situational, there's other factors in, da-da-da-da, and it's very relevant to each scenario, or are we just cooked?
I did a video with these kids and we basically taught them how to interact with the police. One thing I always notice, even with my family and stuff, anytime you get pulled over, the first thing you do is just get an attitude. What you put me over for? Oh, here they go. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, or maybe something's wrong. You know, maybe you did something wrong. And usually this is only my experience. I will say this. I have not had an experience with a white cop that was racist. That's just my experience. Every time I've been pulled over, I was doing something. Every time, whether it been a tail light, going too fast, I'm an avid speeder. I get pulled over for speeding all the time. I have never just been pulled over just because. But anyway,
I have.
I never have. So look, so anyway, and I got pulled over a lot. I got many tickets. I like to speed. But anyway, so I did this video, showed them how to interact, you know, let the windows down, you know, talk politely, have your stuff ready. Yeah. Don't make any sudden movements, you know, just basic stuff. If you were wrong, you know, whatever, just take your ticket, handle your business, go fight it in court. We're not about to argue on the side of the road. Yeah. Basically, turn the car light on if it's nighttime. You know, just simple stuff to make
engine off, keys on the front, right. Hand on the wheel.
Make everybody's life easy. Yeah. They get mad at me. Oh, you should be telling them to assert their rights. I had folks tell them to have a gun ready to shoot the police and all. Like this was real stuff. People was getting mad at me for telling the kids how to stay alive. I'm like, dude, we trying to get back home to our kids. Like, we not trying to be arguing with no police on the side of the road. Right. They get mad at me. They tell me I'm a white supremacist. I'm aiding white supremacy, not telling them their rights. I'm like, it's not that I'm not telling them their rights. I'm telling them, first of all, how to start the interaction to keep it cool. I've even had police, like, for example, it's been 3 or 4 times where I got pulled over. I was let go because I pulled over so fast. I've been speeding before by the police. I pulled over before he even turned the lights on because I knew he was finna get me. Yeah. I've done that before. Yeah. And they were just because I didn't have to come get you, just slow down. Like, just simple stuff like that makes everybody's day easier and it goes by fast.
To your point of small town as opposed to Philly, Chicago, New York.
Yep. Small
town where most of the people grew up there.
Yep.
Sheriff, those experiences, yo, what's up, Steve? How you?
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
But the person that is taught and trained, you're an enemy combatant.
Yep.
You definitely going to harm my life. And a police force that's tens of thousands of people, that becomes a different conversation. That nuance and not making the people communicate and say, hey, different environments curate different things. The sheriff and his deputies are elected. These people and that dude is voted in by, he know main man from whenever they went to whatever college together.
Correct.
Quotas.
Yep. Right, and the numbers. And so, like, that further discussion around that culture in those different spaces is something that breaks that nuance as well. Now, I'll ask you all this, though. Do we think that it's possible that everybody will be willing to receive a full, because what we're talking about right now is fuller context conversation.
Sure.
Do you think that it's impossible or possible for the general public, maybe not the extreme ends, but the general public to generally go, okay, it's situational, there's other factors in, da-da-da-da, and it's very relevant to each scenario, or are we just cooked?
We cooked.
Well,
I say we cooked. I'm gonna let Tim talk, but I say we cooked because of how far we've gone with the media. They're never gonna allow us to think situationally, because there are people right now that believe that people are dying every day by the police. Like there are people like I was there a long time ago watching social media. There are people right now who believe every single day that there are unarmed black people getting killed by the police. Right now, you can go ask them. There's people dying every day by the cops. They shooting them every day. And I'm just like, dude, well, that has probably happened maybe a couple times this year.
Do you agree? Do you think we cooked? Or do you think people have the capacity to kind of like generally?
Well, I think most people, it depends on which side is in control of the media apparatus, which we are slowly gaining more control over. And I say we, it's like the decentralized independent voices, the longer form conversations. We'll see how long that lasts because short form is getting massively powerful. But when you look at like the past 10 years, why were people marching in the street to defend a guy who like is accused of raping this woman and drew a knife? And it's because they don't know or care.
Nope.
They care a little bit in that they want to do the right thing. And so they go to work at the coffee shop. They make coffee. They go home. They turn on their soap opera or whatever. And then their friend says, did you hear about this young black man who got shot? we're going to go protest. You should come. And they go, wow, that is bad. And they don't bother to look into it. So these people blindly march in lockstep with the dominant power structure. Now that we're post the Trump Republican crushing victory, popular vote and everything, people are now reassessing as to which side is the right side of history. And so I don't know that we're cooked. What I would say is, I don't know that we will ever get to the point where regular people are going to decide to actually learn for themselves what's really going on.
Oh, yeah.
But it's an ebb and flow of, well, right now, if we are the ones that have the dominant control in the media, which is, we'll tell you the truth and ask you, please don't defend a guy who did something like this, these people aren't going to go out and do it.
Nope.
Yeah.
But it could change again at some point. Who knows?
Yeah. I think I'm somewhere in between. I'm at different times Brad Pitt in the movie Seven and Morgan Freeman in the movie Seven. I don't know if for the viewers that didn't see
I
it.
haven't seen that movie in a long time.
So the two detectives.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt's gung-ho, like, yeah. Morgan Freeman's character's been there for 1,000 years. His retirement's like next week. And then here comes Kevin Spacey's character, just like the worst killer.
Shout out to Kevin Spacey.
And so he's telling main man, right? Shout out to Kevin. He's telling Morgan Freeman's character's telling their captain, like, I don't want this to be my last case, and it definitely should not be his first case because these killings are just gonna go. He's talking about the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah.
This is symbolic. This dude's gonna just kill and keep killing. And I'm like up for retirement next week. Brad Pitt told him in the movie, Morgan Freeman's character, he said, you know, you're too, in essence, paraphrasing, he called him too black-pilled. He's like, you've just seen death for so long that you don't think that this, that, and the third. And Brad Pitt had a moment of clarity where he says, I can't think that. I can't. New baby, new wife, wanting to do good in the world, still hope.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, you're Morgan Freeman and you're Brad Pitt, and I'm like somewhere in the middle where life has shown me so much of the like, ugh, and you're in the middle of it, right? You have had all of these amazing stories around the world for so long and moments of hope, right? But you've also created an environment for yourself, like your days, like most people's vacation, right? You get to no. What I mean by that is you're doing what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
All right.
So you've somewhat insulated yourself from a lot of the goofery, right?
Goofery.
I can see both sides of that because our work is in the community, but it's not a small town like Albany. It's Philly. I can walk up the street and see where the Constitution was signed. I have these visual representations in the middle of City Hall. There's these 4 sculptures. There's a group of Indian men, native indigenous people, black people, Asian people, and white people, all holding up City Hall, in the middle of City Hall. And it represents, when I was in high school, I used to take tours of this stuff. It represents all of the types of people that built America and built this brotherly love city. My point is, I have access to different levels of hope that makes me hopeful. You are in the middle of a small town and all of those different things. So you're like, nah, he cooked, main man should have died, this, that, and the third. And I think if we can strike a balance in that space in some way, I think that goes in that direction. But to your point, I don't want to give up that hope. In that sense, I feel like Brad Pitt in that moment where I can't.
I don't know if it's hope. It's just, I was saying this before the election. The reason why the popular vote mattered so much is most people will do what they're told. And it's not who's telling them, it's the majority. This is why they say, like, people will vote for who they think is going to win just because they want to fit in. Not everybody, there's people who do this. And so Donald Trump wins in 2016, but the entire media apparatus and institutions go against him. Why? Because the popular vote went for Hillary. And so in their minds, the right side of history is Hillary, and Trump won by procedure. It's BS. 2020 happens. Joe Biden won and got the popular vote. We're on the right side of history. 2024, Trump wins, Republicans win, popular vote for Trump. And now what are we hearing? A lot of these people, Bill Maher on his show on last week being like, well, we need disruption. I wouldn't have voted for Trump, but Jon Stewart now saying that the election of Trump is a repudiation of a stagnant system. Bernie Sanders coming out being like, Elon Musk is right about the spending in this country. And then Cenk Uygur coming out and saying, talking about Trump won legitimately, and now we're going to try and work with the populists. Many of these people, the majority, are just like, who's the bigger group, and I'll do whatever they tell me to do. And I think it's human. It's partly due to the fact that a guy whose job it is to be an electrician is spending his day. He can tell you everything about how these systems work, how electricity works, how you can build the lighting systems. It's not his job to read the news and understand the nuances of political machinations. So then he's just like, look, man, I turn the TV on and try and do my best, but for the most part, like, my job is learning how to do electricity. That person's never going to become a top-tier journalist.
Yeah.
So if the corporate press runs the narrative and they're lying all the time, these people are like, I can't believe how evil Trump is. But now that the narrative is being controlled more and more by independent voices who are telling the truth, or not all of them do, but more so, this guy's going to be like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that was a lie. Okay, well, now I will vote for Trump.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're winning.
Yeah.
At any point, liars may take over again. It goes back and forth. It's the price for freedom is eternal vigilance. So that's why it's not like hope or not hope. It's we won this battle, and now we got to hold the line and make sure we stop, the evil and the liars.
Right. I agree with that. I just think that gets changed, and more people want to be in alignment with that, because it wasn't always this level of Edward Bernays propaganda fight all the time. When it was just I think that electrician should be more involved so he or she can become a statesman or a stateswoman. I think that that's where we fell. And when we do go, I don't think that we just get to tap out only on this is what my one skill set is. To your point, the people that framed America were young 20-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? Like, dudes was like barely out of teenagers.
24, 26.
Right.
But they were, but back then that was a man. You're an adult man. What are you talking?
So when do we give the green light for men to not be that now? Because we got Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
No, we got to shame that.
And that's my point. And that's my point. I think that it becomes I'm gonna do shameless plugs when we wrap up and all of that, right? I'm gonna plug X for Boys, right? We're doing things in the community that need to be done. And I don't think we should give people that ability to go, hey man, I'm an electrician. So politics, you know the whole like, well, I'm just not interested. Well, politics is interested in you, champ.
Yeah, I used to be that way. Again, I told you when I was like 18, 19,
Yeah.
I was the guy. I'm not doing politics, man. We just do for self, do work, boom, 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 and that's it. Until I get, again, 23, 24, 25, I'm like, okay, they just passed something. I just see that. Like,
Right.
I need to go down there and see what they got going on. Like, because it is affecting my kids.
You're going to be further impacted as much. And I love that electrician. I love them. I go, yo, bro, make sure my lights are on, right? But then I also go, hey, man, when you're doing the light thing, can I sit in with you so I can like learn a basic understanding of it? Go ahead.
I want to read this comment. It's from Gravy Skateboarding. He said, Tim, tradesmen follow politics just as much as you most times. What do you think we are listening to while we work, duh? No, my friend, you completely misunderstand. You do not follow politics the way I do.
Yeah.
And this is the point. I don't mean this disrespectfully, but people only know what they can know, and they project their experiences on other people. Dude, I don't watch and listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
I don't pull up Benny Johnson and listen to his show. No disrespect. He's got a big show. He's got a great show. He talks to members of Congress. I am reading 17 articles on the exact same story.
Right.
And then I'm looking for where they're lying. Yeah. And then you'll read one news story, and it's like the one with the Saints and the Jacob Blake, and it'll say an unarmed black man was shot. And then what do? I pull up the video, I pull up the charging papers or whatever. I look to a combination of journalists and internal research, and then I'll just be like, hey, wait a minute, that's not what happened. So, for instance, with the Covington kids, you guys remember this one?
Yeah.
I see a video going viral of a Native American and a kid, and the kid's got this weird look on his face, and the guy's banging a drum, and everybody online, literally everybody, is saying, look at this
supremacy.
kid. How could he do this?
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I don't even know what this is. Right. And people are like, Tim, make a video about it. And I was like, but what is going on? So what happened? I, as well as other people, someone sent me a live stream, said, Tim, check this live stream out. No tradesman watched a 3-hour live stream from Washington, D.C. I don't expect them to. Nothing is happening. There's loud noises. There's chanting. There was Black Hebrew Israelites. There's banging on drums. No, they're going to go watch the podcast I and others have made after watching 3 hours of that.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Culture War podcast. We're live every Friday, 10 a.m. to noon, so subscribe and come hang out.